Welcome back, tuning into today's video. Going to have a look at weather through the weekend into next week, next 8 to 10 days. In today's video, I've got some really nice weather coming up over the weekend. Do get out and enjoy it. It's been a long time coming, but I think we can finally say we've got a really good weekend coming up. High pressure very much dominating the weather over the weekend and into next week as well. I've been highlighting this quite a lot on the videos over the last few days about the high pressure coming in. Looks like we are going to get a really settled spell of weather to start June. Now, before we go on video, just want to talk about the advertising. There's a video ad sitting just above this video at GazWeatherViz.com. Please play it. You'll be supporting GazWeatherViz.com by doing it. So we'll start off by having a look at the Central England temperature for 2013. Been a very cold year, as we know. Every month so far this year, up to April anyway, has delivered a negative return in terms of the Central England temperature. And of course, had that ferociously cold March, which gave us a Central England temperature of 2.7. I'll just highlight it there. That is the March temperature. Central England temperature of 2.7 with an anomaly there of 3 degrees below average. A very, very cold March, and that's going to account for a very cold spring that's coming up. The latest month, May, is again showing a negative return. We're currently 0.6 degrees below the 61 to 90 average. That's a very old average, by the way. I'm not sure we should really be using that average. I'm not sure why the UK Met Office, why Hadley is using the 61 to 90 average, why we've not updated it to 71 to 2000 or even 81 to 2010. But anyway, that's me on my soapbox. But they should be changed to that by now, really. But anyway, for May, we're 0.6 degrees below the 61 to 90 average at 10.4. That may lift up a little bit today because we've got a nice day. It's quite warm, so I think we'll probably increase the central temperature very slightly today. It's going to be another colder than average month, whatever happens, and that's going to be 5 months in a row for 2013, a very cold start to the year. And there's just an outside chance, you'll have heard yesterday a lot of headlines about the UK having the coldest spring since 1962. That looks definite. There's just a chance that for the Central England temperature, we may have the coldest spring since 1891. Again, mainly accounted for by that extremely cold March. But I'll be keeping you updated on that. I'll know more early next week. And there's some very interesting statistics I've seen this week at the weatheroutlook.com forum. Do check that forum out if you get the chance. I've seen some very interesting information this week suggesting that when you get exceptionally cold springs, it does seem to have a knock-on effect for the summer that follows and for the following winter. Very cold, severely cold springs have been very rare over the past century, much more common in Victorian times. I'll be doing more on this next week. There's some very interesting information about that, and I'll do more on it next week. But it does look as though this very cold spring could have impacts for the summer and for next winter. But anyway, that's enough of talking about that. Let's get on with the weather coming up over the weekend. We've got some high pressure ridging in off the Atlantic over the weekend. Here it is for today, coming in from the west. It's a much better day today. We've lost all of that cloud and rain that's been plaguing us over the last few days. Much, much better. Temperature's going to be warm today. It's up to around 20, maybe 21, 22 degrees in one or two places. So a really nice day coming up today. As we go up into Saturday, we're going to start June, of course, on Saturday, the 1st of June. High pressure again is ridging in off the Atlantic, so once again, looking at a mainly dry day, many parts of the country. Could be some showers up across Scotland, maybe down into Northern England through Northern Ireland, but for England and Wales, it's mainly dry. And these showers will be quite light and scattered anyway up in the north. Temperatures will be down a little bit tomorrow, but still pretty warm, pretty good for the time of year, up into the mid to high teens at the very least, one or two places, possibly reaching 20 degrees. Once again, and it's a similar story as we go into Sunday. The high pressure very much dominating the weather here for Sunday. So again, lots of dry weather, fine weather on Sunday, probably more in way of sunshine. Almost universally dry there on Sunday. Just some patchy rain in the far northwest of Scotland, but basically it's a dry scene. And it's a pretty warm day as well. Temperatures lift up a little bit compared to Saturday, but we're around where we should be there actually, at around 14, 15 in the north, 17, 18 in the south. I think we're going to boost that up a little bit more away from the coast, probably going getting up to around 20 degrees. So really nice weekend coming up. Do enjoy it. Do whatever you want, because the weather is going to be basically fine over the weekend. Finally got some good news for once. Now, if you have a look at the GFS ensembles, the temperature ensembles for the next 2 weeks, we see that, well, actually we're going to be dipping a little bit below average in terms of the upper air temperatures anyway over the weekend. I'm not sure that's going to affect the feel of weather. It'll feel a bit fresher to what it does today, but I think really with good sunny spells we'll probably have some pretty warm temperatures as we've already seen. But in the upper air anyway, we are going a little bit below average over the weekend. But really coming up next week, we've got quite a warm spell of weather coming up there. The red line is where we should be for the time of year. Many of the members of the ensemble are going above that red line, so it is going to be quite a warm week coming up. Not that hot really, we're not getting up into a level that will give us a heat wave, but certainly warmer than average. I think the temperatures into the low 20s through many of the days next week. And notice that there's very few precipitation spikes here for next week either. A lot of dry weather coming up, but later on, as we get later on into next week, we'll have an increasing risk of showers. And for the latter part of the ensemble, which is this area here, we see that we do start then getting more precipitation spikes coming through. So it's this idea I was talking about yesterday, but we have a mainly fine start to June, first week or so, a lot of dry weather, some showers at times, not totally universally dry, but basically a fine sort of start to June. But then as we get towards the second and third weeks, we start to see the high pressure breaking down and more in the way of precipitation coming through. And the ensemble is reflecting that from around the 8th to the 10th, we do start to get more precipitation spikes there. Temperature anomalies for the next week, well, perhaps surprisingly, we're not going to be that far above the average. It's taking us from Friday the 31st of May to Friday the 7th of May. We're around normal really with these colours, very pale colours indicating that we're not deviating far from the average. But that's taking today's quite warm temperatures. And of course next week we are going to have some warmer temperatures as well. So what this could well be reflected is that actually we're going to get some quite cold nights coming up with this area of high pressure. I didn't look at minimum temperatures, whilst by day we're not going to be far from average, maybe a little bit above average going into next week. By night it could be quite cold. Notice how warm it is up over Scandinavia, that size of high pressure up there, but much of Europe actually is really quite cool for the coming week. So just have a look at the charts, the generic charts from models. This is for GFS model first of all. This is for the middle of next week. There's that big area of high pressure up over Scandinavia, very much dominated weather, 1030 millibars. That's giving the warm temperatures that we just saw for Scandinavia. For us, everything is very slack through the middle of next week. So whilst high pressure is more or less dominating weather into the middle of next week, we will be running the risk of some showers. I think I'll just highlight that with an S, just to show that there could be some showers in that slack through the middle of next week. But basically it's a dry scene through certainly the first half of next week anyway. And then as we go through next week, well again, everything's staying very slack here with the high pressure up to the northeast. Low pressure is down to the south of the country. We're in a slack sort of flow, so again, there could be more showers through next week. But really high pressure is dominating the weather, let's say that. And as we go through towards the end of the first week, this is Saturday the 8th of June, again we've got the high pressure more or less in control of this, keeping the main areas of low pressure well away from us. But then as we get through towards the 10-day period, this is Monday the 10th of June, just signs there that we're starting to weaken the height, so we're beginning to get this low pressure starting to develop down to the southwest of the country. As we run through towards Tuesday the 11th of June, so this is taking us a long way out, this is 276 hours away, but then we are seeing signs that we're building the high pressure more towards the north of the country, starting to weaken the pressure over Scandinavia, and we're also seeing this low pressure sitting down to the southwest of the country. This could well be the start of that idea I talked about yesterday, things getting more unsettled as we move through into the middle period of the month. But certainly for this first week, high pressure does look quite dominant. The ECMWF again, there's a high pressure boat Scandinavia through the middle of next week. Slack flows on the southern side of it, so there could be some showers, but really high pressure is dominating this through much of next week. So yes, there could be some showers showers around the eastern and southern side of this low pressure, with the mainly dry weather up to the north and the northwest. But we'll have to firm up on that. I'm not really convinced there'll be too many showers later next week. But let's get on next week. The East Temperature does get things very slack there by the time we get through to Saturday the 8th. We've got a really slack flow here across the country, with the high pressure really becoming dominant out to the west, and importantly becoming dominant well to the north of the country. That's northern blocking emerging up there. So this slack flow again could be giving us some showers by the time we get through towards the end of the week next week. I think as we go through next week, we probably have a growing risk of showers, particularly in the east. And as we get through to the 10-day period, Monday, the 10th of June, well, again, it's this idea that we're weakening the high pressure. We've got the high pressure becoming very dominant up to the north of the country, proper northern blocking there around Greenland starting to take place. And this low pressure coming up from the south and the southwest could well be increasing the risk of rain as we go through the second week of June. So I think, again, the idea from the models this morning is very much that we've got to make the most of this first week period of June. The first week to 10 days, make the most of it. Whilst there will be showers in this period, it's not going to be too bad, and high pressure is going to tend to be quite dominant. But make the most of it, because as we get through to this middle stage of monthly, the second and third weeks, I think we increase the risk that it turns much more unsettled, with that high pressure becoming more dominant, more to the north, northern blocking, and that's never good news in summer. So make the most of the weather that's coming up. Make the most of this weekend. It's going to be a really nice weekend. Do get out and enjoy it. And through next week, a lot of dry weather as well. So good news for once. Make the most of it. That's it for now. It's the weekend forecast tomorrow, so come back for that. That's all for now.